Come on. There we go. All right. Tick tock, we're here. All right. Now the screen kind of brightened up. We'll see if y'all are here. Here we go. HJS is 5x5. Motimer, Healthy Disrespect, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Scott McHugh, Farm Ranch. It's funny. It's always the same people that are early. I wonder if it's internet speed, depending on where it goes and what, because obviously it goes out of here at once, but where it comes in, who knows? So, all right, bunch of you guys can see me, so it's good. Happy Saturday. So it's the first day we've all gotten together since the election's over. And, well, at least most of the election is over. We still have Arizona and California that can't count ballots. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're 4 days later here and we still don't have all the results. I mean, it's not difficult, guys. It's a binary decision. It's kind of like male or female, yes or no, one candidate or the other candidate. It ain't that freaking difficult. And the more I see this, the more I go, okay, if it's taking this long, what are you doing? You're trying to find ballots, create ballots, whatever. Yeah. So we got all of that. But unless something's changed this evening, it looks like the GOP is still short 2 candidates in the House, but there's a bunch left to count. Kerry Lake's race in Arizona is still close. I guess Bob Casey up in Pennsylvania still refuses to admit he lost. I think that's the only senatorial race that's still open. I still think the Nevada race was crooked, but that's not a big surprise. Jackie Rosen winning. I don't see that one happening. I think she pulled something like 300,000 votes or something in the middle of the night. Another one of those stories. Then, of course, the big story today is, well, there's a couple of them. Trump came out this evening and said that Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo will have no part in the administration. Good. So that was one thing. The one that worries me, though, is the little maneuver that Mitch McConnell's pulling. And he is still a neocon, never Trumper rhino. Kentucky, the guy's older than dirt. You got to get rid of him anyway. He's not a conservative. He flip-flops more than Lindsey Graham or Mitt Romney. But so McConnell announced before the election that he was stepping down as the majority leader, or as the Republican leader in the Senate. Let's put it this way. And I think the reason is that he figured Trump was going to lose and that he didn't want to spend another term as the minority leader. And now, of course, all of a sudden Trump won. And so that changes a lot of stuff. So you've got 3 people that are running. You got John Thune from South Dakota. You got John Cornyn from Texas. And you've got Rick Scott from Florida. Cornyn and Thune are old school establishment, George Bush-ish, Mitch McConnell clones. And Rick Scott is the one conservative in there. It was funny. Mrs. P was reading something Tucker Carlson put out. And she started saying, and I was like, oh, yeah. I said, Thune this, Cornyn this. I said, I've already contacted both our senators and said they better be voting for Rick Scott. She goes, funny, because that's exactly what Tucker Carlson just said. Like, yes, exactly. So, and then I love the threat that Thune made today to Donald Trump is that he needs to keep his nose out of the Senate's business. No, I hate to tell you this. Trump just got a mandate from the public that people want what he's pushing, not what you're pushing. Okay. We don't want some rhino crap going on, more of this. Well, we got an R after our name, but we pushed through all the Democrat policies. No, it's not what we're looking for. Okay. And if you don't like it, we can always do to you what we did to a whole bunch of other people this term and got rid of them. So that's kind of the game plan. Yeah, I see Robert Tarrant said Marnie Washington, the woman I was telling you about this morning, the FEMA woman, she got fired this evening. That was another good one. Yeah, go out and say anybody that's got a Trump sign in their window or Trump sign in their yard, you're not going to help them. You're out of here, baby. Good luck ever getting a job again. I don't know. Maybe you go work for Bill Gates. He might listen to you. But that was it. But yeah, that was the big stuff today. Other than talking to PBJ, and she was all excited that Indiana won, beat Michigan today. She goes, they're 10-0. I'm like, yeah, she went to IU for her undergrad. So that was her big excitement. And other than that, Mrs. P and I just kind of getting ready for Thanksgiving, do that sort of stuff. Bought a turkey yesterday. So that's sitting in the freezer and, starting to look at Christmas lists and Christmas shopping and stuff. So that was it. But, do a little bit of that. Just, it's nice because it's all of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, breathe a sigh of relief. I go, I actually think we're going to be on the better side of things. Things are going to get better. So we'll see what happens. But that was it. All right. Only other thing I will tell you guys, a couple things, I guess. This is going to be a relatively busy couple of weeks here with products, if you will, sales, because we got Black Friday coming up. So I've already heard from a lot of the, I don't want to say suppliers, but a lot of the companies that we work with about deals that they are putting together. And I know you guys always ask me, I get emails a couple of times a week. Is there any coupon code? Is there any this, whatever? If you're in the market for anything, I'm just saying, wait, probably be sometime this coming week that I'm going to be able to announce a whole bunch of stuff to you guys. So just waiting for them to give me the go ahead and say, yes, this stuff is live, because obviously they got a program in the websites, coupon codes and stuff. But from what I'm hearing, it's some very healthy deals coming out. So that was that. And then I know the other one that we're coming up here will probably start next weekend is the Christmas fundraiser, because I had already talked to the gang at for the Toys for Tots, and they are doing that. I believe it was the 6th or the 7th of December that they're doing all that. I've still got to work out some of the logistics because obviously Cash App doesn't go, and I'm certainly not going to recommend anybody do it via Super Chat because we don't need to be giving 40% to YouTube. So if you're interested in doing that, sure, you can send me a cash, you can send a check. Go ahead, do that. Obviously, we're done with the hurricane relief, so that there's been nothing that's come in for a week. So I know that's done. So everything's been set apart. But yeah, if you're going to send a check for this, please leave the payee blank so I can fill it in or make a check out to cash. If you send a money order, absolutely leave the payee blank, because a money order now I cannot cash even if it's made out to cash. And I had a couple of those I had to send back to people too. So again, safest way to do it is to make it out to cash, is to leave it blank, but make it out to cash if it's a personal check, that's fine. And we'll start rolling on that next weekend. Then we'll figure out what we're going to do, how I'll put up a survey sometime probably by the end of the week on how you guys want any funds to be distributed, just like we did last year between food drive, toys, and animal shelter. So we'll go that way, and then we'll just break out the percentage. What was it last year? I think it was 60, 30, and 10. I think food, toys, animals. So I think that's what maybe it was. I think it was 60, 30, and 10, but I don't remember if it was animals or toys that wound up higher. I don't remember off the top of my head, but neither here nor there. Okay, so let's get into Q&A. Pardon me, my ears have been plugged for a week, so I don't know why, kind of weird, but not that I have to hear you guys. So if I'm talking a little loud, it's because that's how I hear me. But all right, let's get into Q&A. So as usual, if you got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Just makes it easier for me to find them in the chat room. Only requirement that we have around here is to be polite. Okay, keep your snarky comments about others out of here. Don't want anybody being rude. That's kind of how it is. Okay, that includes everybody in the chat. That includes me. So if you want to be rude, go somewhere else. All right, let's go to the top here and see what's on y'all's mind, and we will discuss it here as we go. And there's a lot of comments already. All right. So let's roll them. Margot Pritchett says protests are starting in New York City. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. AOC's been calling for them all week. You kind of figured they'd start on the weekend. I am a little surprised we didn't see as much protesting, violence, whatever you want to call it, as we did. That there wasn't that much. And I think, honestly, it's because nobody expected the election to be called on election night, and because it was a dominant win by Trump. Nobody could, it's fixed or whatever. Christ, I mean, out of every swing state, he won every swing state. Yeah, you're not going to say anything's goofy there. So, Tammy K, they're making sure we have less senators like Kari Lake. Well, I'm going to give you my theory on what the reason is for this. Right now, as it stands, if Kari Lake lost, the GOP would have 53 senators. Okay. The issue comes into this. You look at a Susan Collins, a Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Maine, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. They're not exactly what you'd call conservatives. And so they could be a stick in the mud when it comes time for Trump to name a Secretary of State, a Secretary of Defense, or whatever, fill his cabinet in, any judicial appointments or whatever. That's why I think that the Democrats are pushing so hard to keep Kari Lake out, because they know she is a hardcore conservative and she's going to agree. You figure if you just dropped the two of them, that's down to 51. And all you got to do is find one other senator who's not happy, and now we're at 50. Find two others and they can stop his nominees. So I think that's what they're counting on. That's why they're trying to hold it back. KRFJR, watch them find out it was an even bigger margin. Yeah, that's the one I get a kick out of. You got some of these Democrat groups. I'm not talking about the women who are shaving their heads and going, we're not going to shave, we're not going to shave our heads, we're not going to shave anymore, we're not going to bathe, and we're going to abstain from sex for 4 years. I'm thinking to myself, you don't shave, you don't bathe, you shave your head. Don't worry, you ain't getting any anyway. Sorry. An unbathed Sinead O'Connor is not exactly what you call an attractive woman. So, but yeah, there's a lot of them that are calling for audits. That's funny because, when we called for those 4 years ago, the Democrats screamed bloody murder and wouldn't let it be done. But now that they lost, now they want the audits. I mean, it's like, hypocritical is the cornerstone of being a liberal. My McIntyre, at least we got Trump and Vance. Yeah, it's good. But I mean, again, we don't have a king. We don't have a dictator or whatever it is. Executive orders only go so far. You know what Trump's doing at 12:01 on January 20th. He's going to sign 500 executive orders undoing everything that the Biden administration did. Okay. Because remember, executive orders are not laws. Okay. Congress makes a law, and then it's a little different. So, let's see. Busted Beak. Thune doesn't like Trump. Yeah, no kidding. That's pretty much why the conservative wing, which I'd say I'm part of, doesn't like John Thune. Let's see. Susan M. 1224, happy Veterans Day weekend, and thank you for your service. Yeah, this is a fun weekend for us. Tomorrow's our wedding anniversary, and then Monday is Veterans Day. So, yes, so Mrs. P and I will be celebrating 9 years tomorrow. So that's all that fun stuff. Okay. Jed, think that'll make Harris president for the next month or so? No, because, I mean, and I could be totally wrong, right? I don't think they're going to do it because then they have to come up with who's a vice president. And I mean, now if Joe dies, that's one thing, but I don't think they're going to play politics like I said in the video today. Oh, they should make Kamala Harris president so Trump's loses all the money on all that 47 gear he has. Do you think he really cares? Okay, it doesn't make a lick of difference. You know, the optics. Oh, we had the first woman president. Yeah, that's going to be a joke. Yeah, we had the first woman president. See, she never won a primary, lost her election, but okay, we'll just appoint her as president. I mean, it would be the icing on the cake for Kamala Harris. I mean, somebody she hasn't won an election. She hasn't earned any promotion she's got in 20 years. But, hey, let's just make her president. Could it happen? Sure. But I don't think, of all the things that Congress has to deal with right now, I don't think some bullshit optical thing is going to be what they're worried about. Okay, a couple of people have said about buffering. Yeah, if you did log out, log back in. It shouldn't be bad tonight because it's not like I'm even going through StreamYard. I'm not doing on my phone. I'm going right through the YouTube website at this point. So, because the phone doesn't work anymore for going vertical or for going horizontal. I'm sorry. American Girl, JB Prickster, called himself a happy warrior. I'd call him a Goodyear blimp. I mean, that's it. Holly H, we just talked about that earlier. Tony, you're doing good. Got all your Christmas presents already bought. There you go. I mean, I got started in September. I mean, there's a small pile right here. Is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gifts over here. A couple for Mrs. P, a couple for PBJ. I get started, but I mean, I do my Christmas shopping for months because I listen to what the girls say. It's like, oh, I need this. It's like, okay, and I put it in the back of my head, and then I'll go get it. And then comes time to go Christmas shopping. It's like, oh, I need this, and I need this, and I need this. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, 3 months ago you told me you needed that. So that I don't even remember telling you that. Exactly. Makes it a little more fun. Prep Rebel, what is my favorite Thanksgiving side dish? What is Mrs. P's favorite? Okay. We were just talking about this yesterday when we got the turkey, and the stuffing recipe that I have, and I think we talked about this last year, goes back to the Czech Republic. I mean, this goes back generations in my family. And so I still make it, and it's absolutely her favorite. It's the best stuffing I've ever had. And the stupid part is it's so simple. I mean, it's butter and garlic and onions and celery and the turkey gizzards, bread, a couple of salt, pepper, poultry seasoning, and it's so good. There's never any, I mean, I make an extra pan of stuffing, and we finish that still before the turkey's gone. Because it's just one of those things you go in there and you just grab a slice of it. It's like, okay, once it gets cold, it's, because it comes out like a loaf of bread, even out of the turkey. But it is so good. But yes, the stuffing is by far favorite recipe or favorite thing to have on Thanksgiving. Edith Wallace, do I think that gold futures are a good option? No. And I'm going to say why. Okay. Because that playing the options market, playing the futures market is extremely speculative in the first place. You can lose your ass in there, right? Because you've got two things that are playing that you're betting on there. The price of gold and the calendar, okay? Because let's say you buy futures, let's just make this easy. Rather than go with what X dates are and strike dates and all this sort of stuff. Let's just say you found a future that was for January 1st, okay? And you bought it today, and the price of gold would be $2,800, whatever, pick anything, doesn't matter. And the future is, I don't know, $30 right now. I'm making all this up, okay? But I just want to make the point. If the price of gold does not move 1 penny from today and through December 31st, that $35 disappears and turns into nothing. Because if gold doesn't get to $2,800 in my example, you're losing the time value all the way through. You're in that future, you're buying two things. You're buying the speculation of what the price is going to be, and you're also buying the time. And the time is built into the price. So every day it's going down. You're losing a little bit. So, and the thing is this, if the price of gold goes up to $2,800 on January 2nd, doesn't matter. Your options or your futures are already expired. Doesn't matter. You can make a lot of money in the futures market. You can make a lot of money in the options market. I will agree there. You can also get your ass handed to you. I mean, you can lose everything in a minute. Okay. So I buy the physical stuff. That's my opinion. Take it as you see it. Okay. That's my opinion, but futures are not something that the average investor needs to be playing in. Country Humans Network. What I'm assuming, what do you recommend to prep that is healthy foods, lots of food, have lots of carbs such as rice, oats? In an SHTF event, you're going to need the carbs. Okay. You're going to need it for the energy. That's the thing. Once you get to a point where you're walking a lot more or riding a bike or pushing a plow rather than using a tiller or something, or stacking firewood or chopping firewood, not using a chainsaw, you're going to need the carbs. You're also going to need the proteins. And this is why you hear a lot of us say beans, 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 beans. Beans have carbs, beans have proteins in them. Okay. Good source. But you're going to get both. I mean, when you're talking about rice, oats, that sort of stuff, sure, that's heavy carbs. But you should have one hell of a stock of dried beans. Dried beans will last you for decades. Okay. And they aren't that expensive. That's why everybody says beans and rice is where you start. Beans for the proteins, rice for the carbs. They are cheap, and literally you can live off of beans and rice. Okay. Yeah, you're going to be a little vitamin deficient, but you can live on that. That will give you the energy to get through a day. Susan Musser, any news on the escaped biolab monkeys in South Carolina? No, I mean, I saw that story a couple of days ago and then nothing since. Fastball 2611, can you explain how tariffs work? Do people pay the tax or a higher price for them? Okay, this is where it gets interesting because the media spins this and they tell half truths about it. All right. So let's imagine, I don't know, let's just say Mercedes. Okay. Just because everybody's heard of Mercedes. Mercedes, even though they don't even build their cars in Germany anymore, most Mercedes are built in China. Gotta love German engineering with Chinese assembly. There you go. But let's just use Mercedes as an example. Let's say a Mercedes costs you $100,000. I don't even know what a Mercedes costs. Well, if Trump puts 100% tariff on it, That would mean it costs Mercedes 100% of whatever the car cost them to bring it to the United States. So we're going to make up numbers. Let's say it cost Mercedes $75,000 to build the car. There's 100% tariff on it. They sell it for $100,000 here. So now Mercedes has to pay $150,000 to import that car. Well, now obviously they're not going to sell it for $100,000 anymore because they'd be losing money. So now if they just want to make their original $25,000 profit, they need to sell it for $175,000. But then you get into a currency risk, et cetera, et cetera. So they're probably going to $200,000 is what they're going to sell the car for. The point is, the reason that they want to put tariffs on, nobody's going to buy the car for $200,000. Okay? So what tariffs are more than anything else is a threat to foreign companies to make their product too expensive to sell in the American market, which of course then makes it better for people to buy a Chevy, a Ford, a Dodge, provided they were made in the United States. Okay. So then you start looking at this and go, has this been done before? Yes. Okay. Take a look at why Nissans or Hondas or anything, Honda's got big plants in Ohio where they build cars. Most of the Hondas you buy in the United States are US made. Why? Because they're made here. There's no tariff on it. There's no import tax or whatever. That's basically what a tariff is an import tax. And so they can keep the prices down. If Honda was building all the cars in Japan and these tariffs went in, they'd be priced out of a market. So the point of this is to bring businesses back to the United States or bring new businesses into the United States to put Americans to work to keep the prices down. You want to sell a product here, you build it here. Then you can sell it without the tariff. You want to build it somewhere else, then we're going to price you out of the market. It's not all these people saying it's going to replace income tax and everything like that. No, it's not. Okay. When I saw that running around about a week before the election, I'm like, okay, you guys have no clue what tariffs do. Tariffs are an effective threat. Now, I'll give you this. Tariffs work two ways. We put tariffs on the Chinese and say everything you ship to Walmart is now going to have 100% tariff on it, right? Okay. China's going to go, well, gee, everything you ship to China, we're going to put 100% tariff on it. Good. Then we're not going to send you any more rice. We're not going to send you any more corn. We're not going to let you take any more water. See, this is where I have said many times, there's a difference between wants and needs. China needs the stuff that we send them. We want the stuff China sends us. We don't need all the stuff. So that's basically what your difference is. It's an economic it's basically an economic weapon. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. This is where you hear the difference between free trade and fair trade, right? Okay, that's basically what we're talking about here. Who's your daddy? Who's a mama's? Birthday is Monday. Happy birthday to Joan. There you go. MC Peculiar. Why is it that every time I try sharing a scripture, it gets blocked? Because you can't put any links in here. So the only ones who can put up links are either myself or the moderators. Back to basics living. Do I agree that things are eerily quiet right now? Yeah, it's not silent, but there's still all this going on about counting votes and AOC calling for riots. It's just I agree with you. There's something lurking in the background we don't know about. And we're gonna wake up one day and it's gonna hit us like a ton of bricks. I don't know what it is, I don't know when it is, but I have that same gut feeling you do. I I don't trust the government, I don't trust the media. I have very little trust for corporate America at this point. Uh, so yeah, we're the ones that are left holding the bag on everything. And they're all out there trying to figure out, it's like, how can we screw the American people again? Ellen Knipe, can I cover my leaves back up with weed cloth after covering my garden with leaves, or should I leave it up? As long as it's not plastic or something like that, as long as the water can get in there, yeah, that's fine to cover it up. No big deal. Actually, it's a good idea because it'll prevent the weeds from blowing away. But what you need is that water to be able to get to those leaves so they can get matted down, start breaking down, start feeding the soil. They'll still be there in the spring. Trust me, leaves are not going to decompose in 6 months. But when you till them in the spring, by next fall, you won't see any more leaves. The other thing is the heat that, I'm assuming you're talking about black weed cloth. The heat that you're going to get from the weed cloth absorbing that heat is also going to help in the breakdown of those leaves. Whoops. Back to the bottom. Okay. KRFGR, it's the Secretary of State who's next to be VP. No, there's nobody that's next to be a VP. In the case of a succession, then the House picks a VP and the Senate confirms the VP. That's all how that works. The succession is different. That's going up to the presidency, but no, it's not like everybody shifts a space when the president, something happens to the president, because I mean, at that point, actually, who's number 3 in line is the Speaker of the House. So you'd think logically, if the president stepped down, well, the vice president moves up and the Speaker of the House moves to be the vice president. That's not how it works. Michelle's since to be, I think, what ended up being the total popular vote. I think Trump won by about 5 million votes. Nobody came close to 81 million. It's again, there's 15, 20 million votes that Biden got that those people just must decided not to vote this year. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it probable? No. David Haley, tomorrow is also the Marine Corps birthday. Happy anniversary to you. Happy birthday to us. There you go. And yes, it is. Tomorrow is the Marine Corps anniversary, and the Marine Corps ball's been going on all over the place. And it's funny, the Marine Corps is probably the one armed services birthday that more people know than anything else. I mean, I can't tell you when the Army birthday is, but I know when the Marine Corps birthday is. Just so happens to be on my wedding anniversary. Makes it easier. Let's see. Roger Harmon, I missed it. Are we in control of the House of Representatives? Not yet. There's, as far as I've seen, we're still too short. Gypsy B, if Carrie Lake doesn't win, she'd be a good press secretary. I said that about a week ago, or I think I said it Tuesday night, that she'd be a good press secretary. I mean, her whole background's in journalism, so who better? And then I said, it's not like it's a dead end career. Look what Sarah Huckabee Sanders did. She turned it from press secretary to governor of Arkansas. So yeah, definitely somewhere there. If she doesn't win, she will most certainly have a spot somewhere in the Trump administration. I guarantee you that. Penny Lauer, Mike Lee for Senate leader. I'd be all over that too. Mike Lee'd be a good one. if Mike Lee gets tapped for anything, I think he's going to get tapped for Attorney General. But it's not like we're overly worried about Utah picking a Democrat to fill the vacancy if Mike Lee was removed. Though, ironically, Utah was the only state that actually shifted left in 2024 versus 2020. Still a Republican state, but there's actually more votes for Kamala Harris than there were for Joe Biden. It was the only state that happened. Sandy Shepard, do I think the economy will crash soon? All bets are off on that. And again, we're in that limbo period right now. We're at the end of one president's tenure, the beginning of another, and the economic policy is going to change like crazy. Inflation is still the big thing that worries everybody. The U.S. debt is what worries everybody. That's scary. I saw something the other day. The S&P 500, 500 biggest companies in the United States, publicly traded at least, now account for more than 50% of the country's GDP. That's scary. Okay. You got your index fund, you are betting on 50% of the U.S. economy is what that is doing now. And you think about how many small businesses there are in your town. Go drive through a city and see how many small businesses there are. 50% of our country's gross domestic product of everything we make, goods and services, comes out of 500 companies. That's scary. Happy Canner, any thoughts on Harris saying the word fight 20 times during her 12-minute concession speech? She was telegraphing a little bit to her supporters, to fight back or whatever. I always say that. I am a firm believer that they are going to unalive, what that word means, Trump in sometime between now and 2028. Okay. Because all it takes is her or Obama or Pelosi or Hillary Clinton or AOC or any of these other nimrods. All they got to do is convince one person to do something stupid. And one person's just got to get lucky enough. It's all it takes, and that is worrisome. King D2, will Wellbots have any deep discounts? Yes. Scott Langhoff, there's a call to put Harris on the Supreme Court. My thoughts. Yeah. Ain't gonna happen. Remember, this is the same thing that everybody said that Barack Obama should go on the Supreme Court. Okay. The call, and I talked about this morning a little bit, is for Sonia Sotomayor to step down. I know some people have said for Sam Alito to step down so Biden can replace one of them. And I go back to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she didn't step down. She died. Okay. They're appointed for life. How does it look if Kamala Harris, just think of the optics on this for the Democrat Party. How does it look if they lose an election and so their idea is to hold on a seat in the Supreme Court by convincing a justice to retire so they can replace them with the person that lost? That stinks of corruption so bad it isn't funny. Could it be done? Yes. Would it irreparably harm them, the party? That they would get dogged on that for 30 years. You think she's called illegitimate now? Put her on the Supreme Court. Okay. Completely illegitimate. King's kid. Harris was the first female president in 90 seconds with Biden's colonoscopy. No. Okay. They were not, she was not president. She was acting in the capacity. She had the authority of, she did not have the title. Because at that point, we're not at President Trump isn't 47. Trump is probably president number 600. You know, I mean, the whole time that when Reagan was shot, he was in the hospital. George Bush was running the country. You know, it wasn't, what's his name? Al Haig. Was it Al Haig? No, it wasn't Al Haig. Who was it that said, I'm in control now? Secretary of State. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Al Haig. I don't remember. They're not officially president. They had the authority at the time, but they are not the president. Amanda Wilkerson, my stuffing sounds like hers. Yeah, I don't know, just the whole family recipe. That's guaranteed. It's probably the whole village had the same recipe. So, let's see. Estatine 85, we are trying deep fried turkey this year. Any recommendations on keeping seasonings intact? I've never deep fried a turkey, and I don't think I ever plan on it because I've seen too many videos on deep frying a turkey where people have burned their house down. Yes, I know you do it outside, but people put the turkey in, and you know, if the turkey isn't totally thawed out and dry, you put water or ice into boiling grease, and you have a big problem. And now all of a sudden you've got grease flowing all over the place. That ain't a good thing. So, yeah. Ed Kirkpatrick, if the dollar gets stronger, gold will go lower. Correct. That is, you are absolutely right on that. Again, on the basic fundamentals of it, but you still have the industrial use of it, and you have the market's idealism of it. Do you want to buy gold? Okay, you know. Silver says surviving in Alabama. Yeah, silver's on sale right now, and I'd still wait a little bit to get it. You might see silver pull back under 30. So I don't, if it gets under 30, I don't think it's going to drop much more than 30. 30 is going to be pretty much a hard basement for silver right now. Karen Tomor, I give money for Christmas. The rule is be nice to grandma. Your Christmas gift depends on it. And yes, I've given goal. Okay. Jay Birdsong, old saying, ant to make a small fortune. Okay, I don't know what the ant to, but yes, to make a small fortune, start trading futures with a large fortune. Yeah, it's like, how do you want to be a millionaire in the stock market? Start with $2 million. Ewok Jerky, thank you for the super chat there. Use an injector for seasoning. Don't wear nice shoes. I'm assuming that's the answer to deep fried turkey. I've never done it. I don't plan on it. So, Tammy K, vacuum sealed beans. Someone got beans and she canned. No good. She fed to the chickens and they laid eggs again. Back when feed bad or something stopped. Okay, guys, please read your post before hitting send. Okay, make sure it makes sense. Carrie Cowherd, in my opinion, the first thing that needs to be brought back to be manufactured here is our medicines. I will agree with you on that one. I mean, the fact that we're reliant on medication is ridiculous. And I mean, a lot of people go through, and this is where I agree with RFK, and I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but the Make America Healthy Again thing, I do agree with. I mean, it's like, The answer for every doctor, and y'all can agree with me, is there's a pill for that. Doc, I'm overweight. What should I do? Oh, we're not going to tell you about diet and exercise. Here, take Ozempic. There's a pill for that. It's we take medicines for everything. It's the easy fix, and the pharmaceutical companies just keep getting richer and richer and richer. Who's it? Kennedy talking about Fruit Loops, and the Fruit Loops you buy in the United States have like 17 different ingredients. The Fruit Loops you buy in Canada have 3 or 4 because they don't put all the chemicals and the colorings and everything like that. Oh, it doesn't look as pretty in the bowl without all the colorings. Yeah, well, the coloring's a cancer-causing agent, okay? So, that comes up to be a problem. But, yeah, there's still medicines we have to have, right? And, I mean, whether they're chemo medicines or whether it's insulin or God knows what, the fact that we are reliant on India and China for our medicines is got to be the stupidest thing I ever heard. Again, and you've heard me say this numerous times, we are the only self-sufficient nation in the world. We don't need anything from anybody else. We have all the natural resources to make anything we want. And we outsource so much crap. Well, it's cheaper. Really, if it's so much cheaper, then how come the drugs in Europe or how come the drugs in Canada are 1/10 of the price they are here? They're getting it from the same place too. So there's a problem with our government. Again, Milo on the ready. So if tariffs go into effect, Walmart goes out of business. No. If you think of go back to when Sam Walton was alive. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Go back to when Sam Walton was alive. And you walked into Walmart, and Walmart had signs all over the store, made in the USA, because everything in Walmart was made in America. And then he died, and his kids took over and said, hey, we can make billions of dollars more if we buy everything made in China. Plus, the fact that Bill Clinton said, hey, you know what? We can make everything cheaper if we get rid of all the American jobs and have it all made in China. We'll go to a service economy. Yeah, that's working out real well for us. You go back to the way Sam Walton started the company. It was all made in America. Maybe it needs to come back. We need the manufacturing jobs in the United States. We don't need to have people trying to raise families working at McDonald's. They need to be working in some sort of career where you can work on the assembly line and get promoted to the line manager and move on up, not work as the fry cook and get promoted to the hamburger flipper. That's not, no. I mean, we need to have good careers, back like we had 50 years ago, where dad could go to work on the assembly line, mom could stay home, and they could own a house and 2 cars. Yeah, we need to go back there. We got rid of all those jobs, those good middle class, good paying jobs. Sue Ladine, have I seen Trump's 10 steps? I think we'll be fighting the cartels. I glanced over them. I saw the headlines and stuff like that. I didn't get into reading some of it, but good. We need to be fighting the cartels, and pushing them back. They want to operate in Mexico, then it's Mexico's problem. But once you start bringing that crap here in the United States, then it's our problem. Lie cats. Make everything we need here, zero dependence on anybody else. And again, you're speaking just like me. I'm an isolationist, okay? Shut down the borders. That's it. No, we'll take care of it all for ourselves. No big deal. Okay. Whoops. Ooh. Gotta find where I was. Sandy M, just because we won on the battlefield doesn't mean the war is over. Keep your head on a swivel. Absolutely. She's 100% spot on. There's all you see a lot of people going, "Oh, Trump won." And I mean, as I said in a video the other day, there's a lot of people that think Trump is president. That the election happened on Tuesday, he was declared the winner, and he took office on Wednesday morning. That's not how it works. You know, there's still going to be a fight. It's not like Democrats are now an extinct species. You know, we still have Pelosi and Schumer, and Adam Schiff got a promotion. We still have all these lunatic liberals out there, and they're going to do whatever they can to cause problems. Joseph Cook, my garlic is about 4 inches tall. Will that affect my field because it's too warm? No, not at all. Actually, I mean, garlic is extremely hardy, guys. Garlic needs a couple of months of cold weather just so it can stratify. Okay, so it will grow. The fact that it's growing now, no big deal. I mean, maybe put some leaves over them or something like that to, I don't know where you live. I mean, if you live Michigan or upstate New York or something like that where it gets really, really cold, yeah, put some leaves over it. If you live down here somewhere around me, the middle of the country, you don't need to. They'll be fine. I'll plant my garlic sometime between now and Thanksgiving, and it'll grow because it'll stay warm here. I mean, there's been plenty of times it's been the 70s on Christmas since I've been here. So not a big deal. If you live somewhere that it never gets really cold and you want to plant your garlic, stratify it in the fridge. Leave it in the fridge for a few weeks. You're going to need to do that. Simpler Times Homestead. I'm in Middle Tennessee and still have sweet potatoes still in the ground, and they look good. Are they okay? Depends on how long they've been in. Sweet potatoes need to be, there is no real visual tell when sweet potatoes are done. 120, 125 days is when you pull your sweet potatoes. Okay. Because otherwise they're going to start getting black spot on them. And this time of year, now those critters that are looking for food for the winter, or the burrowing ones, they're going to find your sweet potatoes. So Gizmo Johnny's Seed 2025 catalog came out. There you go for anybody who buys some Johnny's. Jay Myers, you're mentioning leaves for compost. If you mulch them up and then dump them in the garden, won't they decompose faster? Yeah, absolutely. If you run them through a leaf shredder or run the lawnmower over, you're having more surface area. So the smaller you get the pieces, the better they're going to, faster they're going to decompose. If you're looking for mulch or something, a blanket, keep them whole. But if you're looking to turn it into compost, the smaller the better. New York Budget Prepper. If Trump has an accident before the swearing in and is unable to serve as president, what happens? J.D. Vance gets sworn in. That's why we got 2. So that's why they start all the way through. So, I mean, J.D. Vance is number 2 right now, irregardless of what happens. If Trump drops dead today, J.D. Vance becomes president. Okay, we already talked about that. Okay, a bunch of you guys talking about the Army birthday. Tony Lawrence, can the Fed chair be fired? Okay, this is a good one because yesterday, I think it was yesterday, there was a story that came out that said Trump asked Jerome Powell to resign, or if Trump asked him to, or somehow how it came, and Jerome Powell said no, he would not. Okay, now the term of a Fed chair is 4 years, and Jerome Powell was given his seat in 2022. So he is the Fed chairman until 2026, which is obviously 2 years into Trump's term. No, he can't be fired because the Fed is not a government entity. This is the thing. It is actually a private entity. the fact that the government relies on them is a different story. Now, you've heard speculation that Trump could hire somebody in the Department of the Treasury to be the managing director overseeing the Fed chairman. Yeah, that's possible. Okay. But as for flat out, can he be fired? No, because he was never hired. Guys, I got to take care of this. Hang on. Sorry. It's like I think I'm doing cocaine or something over here, playing with my nose so much. HJS, talking about 2020, what do you think about 155 million votes for Trump plus Biden, 168 voters? Yeah, we've said this again. It's like, where'd the 20 million votes go? It's 2020 was rigged. Okay. And they can say, well, gee, more people voted because it was easier. You could vote by mail and everything like that. It's easier to fix. That's all it was. On the go, I put wheat in my garden for winter. Can I, I'm assuming, put fertilizer on it at the end of winter before I till under? At the end of winter, yes, because your granular fertilizer usually is good for 90 days, 120 days, or whatever. You want to put that on at the end. You're going to till in that winter wheat to give some organic matter in there, but you want to get that fertilizer on so it can be taken up by the plants as soon as you put them in. It's the one big mistake I see people make all the time is they fertilize their gardens after they plant. It's like, well, you don't want to put fertilizer on right when you put your seedlings in because you're going to burn your seedlings. So they wait a month. Okay, now my plants are a foot high. Now I can put fertilizer on. Sure, you can. The problem is only about 10% of that fertilizer is water soluble. It's taken up right away. The rest of it needs to time release. So by the time that fertilizer is still being fully used, you've already picked your entire crop and you've wasted half the fertilizer. You want to get it on early in the season, late winter, preferably, before you start planting. So you've got a month for that fertilizer to already start breaking down. It's in the soil already in a usable form for the plants as soon as they go in. Stuff you need to know. They need someone right at the Fed to shut off the printing presses. Ain't that the truth? I mean, it'd be nice if we could just get rid of the Fed, end the Fed altogether. We don't need to manipulate the currency. If we just let the currency do what it needed to do, let market conditions dictate the value of the dollar, let market conditions dictate the economy, dictate interest rates, and if the government got out of the way, the economy would work fine. But the reason they want to manipulate the interest rates and everything, it's not so you and I have higher or lower mortgage rates. It's they manipulate it so they have lower borrowing costs. Oh, we've got to borrow a bunch of money. Let's bring the interest rate down. Oh, we're not borrowing a bunch of money. Let's bring the interest rates up so we can manipulate the value of the dollar. That's what they're doing. They try to spin it like they're doing it for the people. They're not. They're doing it for themselves. Okay. Whether countries are borrowing from us or we're borrowing to give to other countries. 9:59. One more if I can find it here. Just Milo and Ready. Does Harris know what the word justice means? No. S. Meacock just wanted to give recognition to the Amish for helping Pennsylvania tip the votes for Trump. I'll agree. I'm betting there aren't any Amish watching, though. So probably not a whole lot of them hooked up to the internet. Just saying. I don't know. Maybe the Mennonite friends will tell them. P. Lee J., thanks to all the minorities for help saving the republic. Yes. Again, the number one generation the only generation that was over 50% for Trump was Gen X. All those of us that have been sick and tired of everything said, leave us alone, we're the ones that push Trump over the top. So, all right, guys, that is 10 o'clock. I'm going to go watch the second half of the UT game. You guys have a good evening. See you all in the morning. Pinball out.